What's going on, everyone? It's your boy CYMBA Does Music. In December of 2015, Disturbed released a cover of the Simon & Garfunkel classic, The Sound of Silence. And one thing that I kept hearing from friends of mine who were just casual music listeners, other than the darkness and emotion that was in the song itself, was the unusual feel of it. They couldn't quite pinpoint when the verses and the choruses were. And I legitimately had one friend argue with me that when they sing The Sound of Silence, that was the chorus. It was just a quick chorus. Now, while a big talking point in rock music at the time, hardly any songs after that, in fact safe to say no songs after that, featured this type of form in any genre. That is until 2020, when The Weeknd released the deluxe version of his massive 80s sounding album, After Hours, with the track Final Lullaby. Once this ballad was released, the world once again heard this form that was so unlike anything we have been hearing for the past 5 years. But what's even more crazy is that The Weeknd kinda sorta took this form and morphed it into something even more unique. And I bet you probably have some questions like, well, what is this form? Why would I want to use it? And is this gonna make a big comeback, kinda like the synth sound of the 80s? Well, I'm here to answer those questions. So to answer the first question, this form in songwriting terms is what's known as an AAA song. Why a title like this? It's actually pretty simple. As far as music is concerned, you only have one section of music. That's the A section. 9 times out of 10, this one section of music lasted 8 bars. It was just repeated a lot with the same melody but with different lyrics. But most times they had the title of the song in the beginning or at the end. Occasionally in the middle, but beginning and end. This was actually one of the go-to styles of writing songs from the beginning of time, essentially, all the way until the 60s and 70s, when producers and songwriters got the idea to make a new section of music with a new form of music and new lyrics and a new melody that was catchy, and it would get repeated a lot so it would get pounded into your head and that you would remember it long after you stopped listening to it, which we now know as a chorus to this day. So there's a little history lesson. Why would you want to use this form? Well, there's actually 2 styles of songs that really benefit from this form: storytelling songs and protest songs. As I mentioned before, AAA songs were one of the go-to styles of writing songs in the beginning. But in the 50s and 60s especially, country artists who were storytellers really loved using this form for one simple reason: less time to spend writing music, more time to spend on the lyrics. A classic example of this, other than The Sound of Silence, is Bobby Gentry's song, Ode to Billy Joe. The same theory was used in protest songs as well. The writers believed in their message so much that they didn't want their listener to get distracted because they had new music to listen to, so they just said, alright, we'll keep it the same and just make more room for more lyrics to come, so that the listeners can spend more time paying attention to the lyrics. Great example of this is Bob Dylan's classic, Blowing in the Wind. Now, remember when I said that 9 out of 10 times the A section lasted about 8 bars? Well, yeah, that 1 out of 10 times is where The Weeknd comes in. I mentioned earlier that The Weeknd took the traditional form and kind of turned it on its head and morphed it into something new. And here's what I mean by that. So Final Lullaby has A sections that actually last 16 bars long, double the time of the normal form. But here's where it gets kind of tricky as to whether or not we can pinpoint if this is an AA song or not. He uses the first 16 bars as sort of a quasi-verse, and then he uses the next 16 to keep singing finally, and then he keeps repeating the line from the previous section, kinda like a chorus. So then technically, wouldn't this just be a verse-chorus song? Well, technically no, because while the melodies and lyrics are different, the music stays the same. It keeps playing that arpeggiated synth bass part, and then they add in some more instruments to add color and depth. Man, if one of my college professors heard this song and analyzed it, he'd probably be pissed off right now. He'd probably be saying things like, the form makes no sense, this is so lazy, they should have wrote more music for the chorus, or he should have just made up his damn mind about what form he wanted to do. All joking aside, that actually leads to something that same professor actually taught me and many other of my colleagues. Learn the rules to break them properly. The Weeknd did exactly this, and at first it may seem like he's just singing whatever the hell he wants over the same music, but as we found out today, there's actually some structure to it, and that structure is like a hybrid between verse, chorus, and AAA form. And while we're here, I just want to mention that second to last A section, when he's singing in the higher register, it gives me chills every time. Sorry, just wanted to mention that. Now you may be wondering, will this form make a comeback? Only time will tell, but my honest opinion is no. With how short people's attention spans are these days, and with us being so used to hearing verse-chorus songs, I feel like an AAA form would just go over our heads because we're so unused to hearing it. I do want to say this though, if you're just starting off in songwriting, start with AAA songs, because by just writing A sections and just writing the lyrics, you get a lot of practice in your lyric writing, you get a lot of practice in verse development, and you get a small little bit of practice in building up to your chorus, even if you're getting a quick chorus. As you start to get comfortable writing this, then you can move on to verse-chorus songs, and you will thank yourself for the time you spent before. Now you'll have instances like John Mayer's last album, The Search for Everything, that actually have songs that feature the other form of music that was really popular back then along with AAA, and I'll get to that in another video. For the most part, verse-chorus songs have been the tried and true method of writing songs, and they're showing no signs of slowing down. But hey, what do I know? I didn't think the big synth sound of the 80s was going to make a comeback, but here they are now, so maybe AAA songs will too. So what do you guys think? What was your big takeaway from this video? Let me know in the comments section down below, and while you're at it, subscribe to CYMBA Does Music, hit the bell icon to get notified when I post a video, and follow me on all social media platforms at CYMBA Does Music, all one word. That's all I got for today, you guys. I go by the name of CYMBA Does Music, and I'll see y'all later.